早
晨，早晨。
How are you in Singapore?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you in Hong Kong?
I'm in Hong Kong. Yeah, but my sister is now in Singapore, so basically she's a Singaporean.
I see.
So yeah, she said the conditions is better right now in Singapore. So you must be enjoying dining out, yeah?
Yes, actually, well, a little bit of freedom, but people are still very cautious about.
Is it compulsory wearing masks?
Yes. It has been like, everybody is wearing masks. Like they have to wear clothes when they go out, right? So you feel naked if you don't wear masks, and you sort of like realize it because sometimes when you are eating and then you wanted to get up and get some ketchup or whatever, right? So you just walk a few steps and then people are staring at you. So,
I know, because last time I was not wearing mask because I really forgot. So I went to just literally out of the office, just outside. Everyone is staring at me. I was like, why the wind can blow to my face? I feel so comfortable.
Yes.
And then I realized I didn't have my mask. And, people would just think that, oh, what's wrong with you? You didn't wear your clothes, maybe.
Yeah.
So
it's like now,
it's like naked, right?
Mask is, mask is like, like you don't wear clothes. You feel so naked if you go out without a mask. So I don't know.
I don't want to pay 5,000 Hong Kong dollar for just...
it's 5, huh? I think in Singapore it's 1,000 Singapore dollar.
It's more or less the same.
Yes. And you are based, are you Hong Kong or citizen?
I'm from Malaysia.
Okay, same here. Which part of Malaysia are you from?
I'm from KL.
You're from KL. Okay, I'm from Penang.
I think we have a common contact with Izwani Ahmad.
Okay, yes. Madrid.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, so how long have you been in Hong Kong?
Almost 11, going to 12 years.
12 years.
And it's a long time.
Okay. So maybe, a good way to start this conversation will be like how. So thank you so much, Janet, for being with us today. And I think it's, I don't recall I have spoken to any lawyers in 2021, but I will ask you some interesting questions. So anyway, this session is pretty much very casual. We just wanted to know our Asia CEO members, in a more in-depth, maybe to know that person intimately rather than to know that person represents a company. So that's why I think Gary set up this conversation. So you have been in Hong Kong for more than 10 years. What actually makes you move to Hong Kong? Because
I was hired by a foreign law firm in Hong Kong before that. So and I started my jobs from there. And then, once you started here, you don't really think about going back to Malaysia because it's a bit difficult. All your contacts that you gained, it's all here. So if you go back, then you have to do everything from scratch again. But I also getting used to the lifestyle here, the environment here. So, and then I started my, so-called the second part of my career in Hong Kong.
Right. But you were practicing in Malaysia before
Yes.
And in KL.
And now I'm practicing in Hong Kong as well. So I get myself qualified in Hong Kong after a few years in Hong Kong.
I see. Do you still go back to Malaysia?
Yeah,
often?
I do because
Chinese New Year?
I go quite often because I have an office right there.
Okay.
So I started last year, but because of COVID, I can't even go back. So I miss, because when I left Malaysia, the office is still under renovations.
I see.
So now it's like all renovated, but I didn't even have a chance to go back and smell the new, the renovation smell.
Hi, which part of KL is your office situated?
Publica.
Oh, Publica. That's one of my favorite places. A very hip place. It feels like
Soho, a restaurant and a cafe, right?
Yes. Okay, good. I hope to catch up with you either in Hong Kong or in Malaysia. Being a woman in the legal profession, right? I'm not sure if this statement is sort of biased, but most people tell me all the good lawyers are guys. Do you agree
Mm,
with this statement?
I would
Or they
say,
maybe take the more high profile, cases, because every time you see a lawyer on the newspaper, right, it must be some litigation cases, and then you have to go to court and fight, and I don't know. Do you think women, I mean, especially Asian women, are not able to take that kind of stress,
I can't agree on this in a
Mm-hmm.
way, because I think outside there are lots of many good female lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
but of course, different subject matter. Like for instance, we take an example. If you are looking for criminal lawyers, you're talking about maybe rapes or
Yes.
murder. It would be difficult. I mean, I can't say that female lawyer can't do it, but emotionally, it's also not easy. But I
Yes.
believe outside there are lots of female criminal lawyers, I would say. But I think it depends how you look at it. For me, I think you get a female lawyers, in a way, it depends on what subject matter. If you go for a family, you would prefer, if you are a woman, you prefer to
Mm.
speak to a woman because a
Yes.
woman female lawyer can understand you more emotionally. Yeah. If you're talking about business, I don't see why you can't engage a female lawyer in a way, because they are quite meticulous as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't give this comment if this happened like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, maybe, it's still male dominated industry. But right
Yes.
now I can see there are lots of female lawyers right outside, and it's also good female lawyers in a way.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. But as a female entrepreneur, as a female, that actually climbs the corporate lawyer or build a career, right? I mean, this is quite a common question that we ask, whether you're in a banking or in a legal industry, or if you're in even in healthcare, right? It's always like, do we get a chance to sort of compete equally? So it's just of my interest, because I guess, like I said, sometimes women are built in such a way that some, we probably are a little bit more emotional compared to certain guys. But this is sort of like a really a generic,
Mm.
sort of like saying, right? I guess each individual is very, very different. But you can feel that you are enjoying your career right now, that you have your own firm. Maybe just a little bit about your firm. Is there a specialization, like for yourself? Like you said, there are many different fields, right? So, which part of the legal, that your firm
Yeah.
is a subject matter expert?
Yeah, actually, our firm, we have different, we have lawyers doing family, but to me myself, I'm not a big fan of doing family, because it's really emotional when you see your clients.
Mm-hmm.
They might share a lot of their personal stuff with you, and I don't really enjoy it. But I think I'm more, and because we have lawyers just doing family, but for
Mm-hmm.
myself, I enjoy doing cross-border business. So
Okay.
I will say I look at things differently, because I my background is a dispute resolutions lawyer. But I wanted
Ah,
to
okay.
switch this long time ago, because I practice as a litigations lawyer in Malaysia. So I
Mm-hmm.
came to Hong Kong, and I did a lot of corporate commercial business
Mm-hmm.
transactions. So I kind of successfully switched from a dispute resolutions to a business corporate lawyer, but I still do dispute resolution sometimes. But what our firm niche is, because we serve a lot of Malaysian and Singaporean clients.
Hmm.
If they have a dispute resolution case in Hong Kong, then maybe because we speak the same language, or from Malaysia, fellow Malaysian, so we do represent quite a numbers of Malaysians in Hong Kong. And me myself, we also do like cross-border transactions. Like if you have you have acquisitions in Malaysia, in Singapore, or in any part of ASEAN's country, we would be happy to represent, because we have associate partners in that particular country. So I mean, we are not a typical Hong Kong law firm in a way. We do a lot of different kind of cross-border deal. Even though the dispute resolutions, it's also more like a cross-border disputes cases mostly. Yeah.
I think it's good. It's good to know that, well, this is a little bit biased because I'm Malaysian, right? It's good to know that we have a Malaysian Hong Kong lawyer in Hong Kong because I was told that many businessmen, I mean, at least, I know that there are many rich tycoons in my hometown, Penang, that has set up their family offices in Singapore or mostly Hong Kong. So it's good. I also realized that we have a actually quite a huge community of Malaysians in Hong Kong. I've got really good friends there. And somebody once told me Hong Kong is like, China is very huge. Everybody wants to go to China, but Hong Kong is more like a little gateway to reach out to Hong Kong, right? I mean, it's like a melting pot for everyone to do business, right?
Yeah.
Now, being in a law firm, how people describe lawyers is that they work long hours, they see a lot of papers, and is like you probably will be sleeping in your office when there are like cases like litigation going on and all this, right? Is it still true in today's world? Like, as a lawyer, do you still like looking, like how many pages of documents do you actually look at? Like, just out of
No,
interest.
I think it's true in a way. It depends what firm you are working at. I believe when the economy is very good, like lots of those MNC firm, like multinational firm, they actually do have a lot of project, and you might need to work overtime, especially when you are doing IPO. So when I set up my own firm, my mind is to do things differently. So I do not want to, those that I do, because I practice in other law firm before. So those culture I dislike and those things I don't like, work and life balance. Everyone is saying work and life balance. Who can actually do that?
Yeah.
So of course, how you want to do it is depend entirely up to you. So when I started my firm, so I'm thinking I wanted to do, the firm according to what I really want. And also, I want to be different from other firm. The culture need to be different, work and life balance definitely, but it's depends on you, because I can't force out my colleagues to be, not to be a workaholic if they wanted to be, but there is no
Yes.
such thing of staying late and you need to, really have to finish all your job. And because the job, it's you can't finish. But it depends on what is your working hours, because some they might need to, they can't come office early. Some they actually
Yes.
like to work after 2 p.m, but they can work until like midnight. So different people have different kind of working style. So we respect their working style.
Yeah.
So that's what we are doing here in our firm. As long you get the work done, there is no issue on how it's going to perform.
Yeah.
Whether we are looking at a piles of papers, documents, I have to say, if you are doing corporate, you're doing business, you have to be meticulous. You have to go through all this. But this is part of the job as well. So yeah.
I was about to ask you the next question, right? The impression of going to a lawyer's office, right, is either you have lawyers who practice as one-man operation, so they will have a small office. Now, if you go to the bigger ones, the office is like, wow, it looks like a private bank. Or if you go to a more a lawyer office that has been around, and then you see all the wood furniture, that kind of thing. But I look at your background, right? I do not know if this is a virtual background that you have.
No,
right?
it's not virtual. It's really.
It's real, right? So I
Yes.
was going to ask you, right, Janet, are you creating a law firm that is something like a Google office or Facebook office? Because I felt it is like kind of refreshing. I've never seen a law firm with such highlights and a background so vibrant.
Yeah. So actually, our firm is actually an open office. I know
Modern.
lots of office, they are practicing lawyer. You will have a room, either you have a room or you're sharing room. But here I'm actually sitting outside with everyone. There is good and bad, I would say, because some might not be enjoying to, sitting next to your boss or, owner of the firm. But I think it's a culture. if you started this from day one, then everyone working here would think it's a norm. But maybe they think outside is not normal,
Yeah.
So and then I definitely would be happy to to follow like what Google Office is, open office, everyone is close to each other. Yeah, but there is good and bad, I would say.
I guess, yeah, it's sort of like I said, if you started from day one, then, human being, sometimes habits can be shaped, right? If it's day one like this, you will not have any comparison. But because if you are there for too long, then you obviously subconsciously you will compare, right?
Yeah.
Why is it like that? But like I said, that also sort of like applies to many leadership style, right? I was told that if you are let's say for example a CEO taking over a role, right? So from day one, if you are, it's like, I want, I don't want, then you will set the precedence of, this guy is not decisive. But if you come in and you're very clear of what you want to do, if you need to do a cleanup, you better do it on day one, because once you're in it, it's very hard. So if you want a blank canvas, do it day one. That's what one of my mentors said. So I think that is something, I guess it takes maybe a little bit more practice and experience to do it, because we tend to feel for others, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if you get someone new coming in, for instance, if our firm is looking for a lawyer, right, or a trainee, the thing that I actually always thinking, the issues that I have is that whether these persons can blend into the culture of the firm. That would be the first thing I'm thinking, because people has been practicing outside in other firms. They would
Yes.
think that our firm is strange. What happened? Why am I sitting next to her?
Yes.
So these are something, because we want to look for someone who is open-minded, who are willing to adapt to changes, and can blend into the culture of the firm. Then always when people come for interview, I was like, okay, I like you, I really like your experience, but I'm just thinking whether you can blend into the firm culture, and whether other colleagues will like you as well, because this culture is very important for every company. If this culture is making people upset, or not happy every day, dragging their body to go to work, there's no point, because people will just resign and go. They don't see how to attach with your company. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, true. Because I think, work gets done because there is somebody doing it, right? So without a person motivated to do it, then you will have a 6:30 job, and that leads me to the next question, right? Legal profession has to do with, of course, a motivated lawyer to take on a case, but a part of your job is a lot of documentation as well. How do you see, these startup culture and technology, having an impact on your profession?
I personally, I'm very inclined. Of course, I'm happy to have these technologies coming into the legal industry, because even though as of now, if you don't recognize the importance of this technology, eventually you have to admit it, because people, as you say, if people want to draft a contract, right, it's not necessary to find a lawyer right now and ask a lawyer to do a contract, because firstly it's time consuming, and secondly it's very expensive. So I do recognize that technology for automations, for templates, for contract, it's actually very important. But having said that, it doesn't mean that lawyer has no role at all. Yeah. But instead of the brain the lawyer have, the experience the lawyers have, documentation automations cannot replace. It's like, if you're sick, you can Google all the symptom. They might give you certain, oh, you might be diagnosed with this, but what kind of prescriptions then you're gonna take? Yeah,
Yes.
you still have to see the doctor. It's the same. I always compare like legal and doctors, lawyers and doctors. They are similar. No one can replace the brain and experience and the expertise of the lawyer or a doctor. But I do recognize the time spending on that particular project or that particular contract will be lesser. So instead of billing, 5 hours, right now you can only bill 1.5 hours. But you don't think it's better because you can actually have more new clients instead of, you know, cracking your heads and get more hours to bill the clients. So I would say it's more efficient in a way.
Yeah.
But I do recognize technology.
I think you did a very good comparison between the professional, because I think growing up, right, at least my mom would say you should be a lawyer or a doctor, that kind of high respect for this profession. Yeah. But like you said, it is a profession where you can't replace, although like people are saying, oh, now you don't really need the robots can do the operations. And yeah, the robots are assisting the doctors to do operation, because it's sort of, take away the human error, right? So instead of the doctor actually operating on a theater for 10 hours because he has to use the old-fashioned scissors and all this, the robot actually bring down the time spent to maybe half, so that the doctor can use his expertise, his hand, to save another person. Because imagine if this guy is an ER, heart surgeon, for example, and he is doing an operation for 10 hours, and there goes someone screaming and almost losing his life, but I have to wait for this doctor who is like, every day I have to spend 10 hours. I think it might be an extreme case to compare, but like I said, those monotonous jobs, those standard things where technology can just help us so that we can use our limited 24 hours to do something better, something more, more affordable. Because I think these two professions, healthcare is very expensive. Of course, going to lawyers is not cheap as well. But I'm sure all the good lawyers and the good doctors, they will want to make sure that these two professional advice are accessible to clients. Because, not many people can go to see a doctor. I mean, we're very blessed. And some people that face an issue, they may not have even that money to consult a doctor. But if, like I said, if instead of billing 5 hours, you can now bill 1 hour, I think it's actually good for both. It's not saying that lawyers are not getting jobs anymore. You can have 5 clients instead of 1, right? And that 5 clients benefit from your expertise. So I think it's the right thing to do. I would encourage people who there are some industries which is so brick and mortar, so kampong, so old fashioned, that they don't want to adopt to technology.
There are still lots of companies, firm also, they're denying the fact, I would say.
But then, what happened is that then the technology will be so big and that they swallow up, like, Amazon swallowing up, and all the supermarkets and all this. But if the supermarkets or the bookstores realize that they can actually go omni-channels, I mean, people still like to hold a book and read, but, I don't want to be carrying the book all the way, right? So if I have a Kindle on my phone, it's basically just fine-tuning your business to maybe fit the lifestyle of people who, I mean, our lifestyle is now with the phone, so it has become a habit. It's interesting to know that you guys are adopting this technology.
we do give template to clients. We do sell templates out without legal advice, because we do recognize that if you're denying this, eventually you can't do anything. You just
because I think it's like some of the templates are very, very standard, right? But that like, for example, one of the challenges that we face, and because I invest a lot in startups, right? And then you know that startups will not have money to have a retainer lawyer, and they will, yeah, they don't even have money to probably pay salary, but they do need certain templates, because one of the critical thing is that when someone invests in your company, and you, if you're first time raising fund, and then the agreement is so thick, you don't really know what to do, or if you're hiring someone, an employee into your startup, and you don't have a HR manager to craft that contract for you. I think these templates, at least the basic templates accessible to these startup community is very important.
Yeah.
And as a business, I think, this is what I've seen the banks are doing. I mean, in the past, startup will not be able to go to a bank and borrow money. But I think the banks are realizing that, if you want big clients, you're better off building the relationship from start. Hopefully that, yes, because, many of such businesses is trust, right? So if I go to the GP, since I'm small, I trust the GP because he is so in tune with my healthcare system. Or if you're handling a client from a small business to, become an SME, and then the client go IPO. Beyond that professional paper legal advice is the trust that you build with the client, that the client is like, I'm some, that the lawyer or the professional will handle it in my interest, right? I think that is important, relationship to build. So I always tell people that don't, if you can, don't turn away a small client, because helping people, it's nothing to lose. I mean, especially like it is a template that you can share. This person will remember. Yeah. This person that you will remember, that you helped me when I needed the most help, right? I mean, going to see a lawyer usually is like, I won't go and see a lawyer if I have nothing. It must be a challenge. I wouldn't say problem, because sometimes it's a challenge or an opportunity, like you do. But it's very interesting. So now I know who to, if I have fellow Malaysian friends who wants to do something in Hong Kong, then I think first they will be very comfortable speaking to a Malaysian. That is for sure, right? So it will be good. I think
our firm, because of that, our firm also have this legal clinics as well, because a lot of people are complaining that going to see a lawyer is very expensive. That's why we are thinking about this project, which is what we call virtual legal clinics. We actually co-created last year due to the pandemic.
Yes.
Because people can't go to the law firm and see the lawyer, so we have this virtual legal clinics. So we are also only accept like a nominal fees from the clients, and then part of the fees will be going to the Maggie Cancer Center. So this Maggie Cancer Center is because they can't have any charity event, so they can't raise funds. That's why we are thinking we can also, gain some funds for them to help them as well. So we already created this since last year. It's actually very good feedback. And we also have steward program dedicated for the startups. So good. Very little fees, and then is a retainer. So whatever templates you want and whatever review you want, as long as within the project, within the scopes, we are happy to help. So far, these two projects are running pretty well in the firm. Yeah. So the virtual legal clinic is really good, I would say.
Yeah.
Helping the charity.
If you can have a virtual consultation with doctors, and I'm sure, legal, virtual, well, it won't replace the personal face-to-face for sure, but it is something that I guess we have to accept it as a hybrid model moving forward, because it does actually save time. Because why would I take a trip down to a lawyer's office to ask a simple one or two things to clarify, right? I mean, it saves your time, it saves my time, so I guess that will be even like learning, right? Learning is going to be virtual. hybrid as well. It's like last time I used to go to a public phone and call. Now the phone is like with me, 24 hours a day. So
you can't find a public phone anyway.
Exactly. I do not know. Maybe I don't know which country.
Maybe London. London might have a public phones, right? I
remember Norway. I do not know the public phone works or not, but I remember walking in Bergen during one Christmas. The whole town was closed, and then it was a rainy Christmas day. So I saw a public phone. And actually, I went to the public phone because I was hiding from the rain. I just didn't, it didn't come across my mind to actually take out a phone and see whether it works. But I'm sure there are still public phone. Going to a public phone is like a journey. So it's like a trip those days, right? And it's still, quite nostalgic for me. Things that we take for granted. Now everything is so convenient. Anyway,
are you carrying coins if you go to public phones? Last time we used to carry the coins, right?
Coins, yeah. But now I think I do not know. Well, if there was coins, and then there was this card in Malaysia, if I remember. But now I seriously can't find a public phone in Malaysia. Probably in some kampongs, but I have to find out if public phone is still available in Malaysia, and if it is available, does it work?
Exactly.
Public properties are sometimes vandalized. So if there is a public phone there, chances are it doesn't work. I remember those days, like they used to have like 3 public phones, right? And then most of the time if they don't work, if you're lucky, one works, right? So now we have communication so easily available, and it's becoming part of our life. And I think we should actually leverage on the ease of communication now, especially with this pandemic. Yes. So thank you very much, Janet, for spending your time with us. It's good to know another Malaysian is doing very well in Hong Kong. They say if you can survive in Hong Kong, you can survive anywhere. So I guess
hopefully.
yeah. And then I have a last question, because some of my friends in Malaysia, as you know, Malaysia has many SMEs, and one of the aspiration is actually to go listing, even the startups, right? Which I always tell them, if you want to go, your exit strategy is listing. Can you explain to me in maybe 2 minutes what listing is all about? So they have no clue, but everybody says exit is listing, right? But I do have a few friends who own SMEs, and they were thinking of actually doing a listing when the times are better, so maybe like a year or 2 years down the road. Does your company do that, advise clients? Let's say if they're a Malaysian company, they wanted to do an IPO.
We do, but we don't do the listings.
Okay,
but we
so
do
the
pre listing advice. We do that, because I think every businessman's dream is to go for listing.
Yes.
Everyone, I would say 85 or 90% of people who are doing business, eventually they want to list. But I think listing is good if, let's say, depends on what your objective. If your objective is, I list the company, I get the money and I go, then this is one of, mostly people are looking at. And the other one, it's really the legacy, like, your IPO, it's a listed company, it's really guaranteed when you do business. But lots of people actually overlook that if you list the business, it's basically, you don't have any more, you basically, you need to expose yourself.
It's like
of requirements, disclosure, whatever you want to do, it's no longer yours. I would say it's to the public. So a lot of people overlook this. They look at the good side because of the cash flow, the cash that's coming in. But how about the listings requirements, the disclosures that you need to disclose, and it's not yours anymore. Anything that you do, you need to disclose, announcements, whatever. Actually, you just need to expose everything out, So it depends. If you are good with that and you kind of happy to do that, then of course listing is a eventually is a dream for everyone who wanted to to do business. Yeah.
I guess the advice would be list it, with the right reason. Not just because everyone is listed and it looks so glamorous, hitting the gong or
I'm
ringing
the
the bell.
boss of the listed company. Right?
But the consequences, of course, everything there's pros and cons, right? Like you said, when you are a listed company, if you know how to use the vehicle to raise money and do greater things because you have the vehicle, but at the same time, because you're taking money from anyone on the street, and you don't get to decide who you take in.
Exactly.
So
you owe a duty of care, to the public.
Yes, and and ASO will buy a share, and then they'll come to your AGM and then say, why are you not doing this? Because they may not understand the business, the sentiment, but they can throw an egg on you because they don't get the dividend that you promised.
Exactly. So it's a package that you need to take, To
be able to give away your privacy and to be accountable to so many shareholders. So some people who don't like this publicity to be accountable, I rather just do on my own. I don't have someone that I need to report to, having to show my report card every day, and like I said, transparent as in I look through and through into your life and everything else. So I think it's the right reason. Most companies, after they list, the promoter is not able to handle that kind of stress as well. I've seen many. So anyway, thank you so much for your time. It's been really great talking to you. I would I have a term, the modern lawyer, because I'm really intrigued with your background. So I meant to ask you, when I saw the background, is it a background or is it a real office?
It's not virtual. It's not virtual.
Yeah, I've never seen a cool office like this, I look forward to visiting the office because I can already imagine what kind of it's perfect. It's actually very good for the startups to visit, because I think startups are very scared and they go into an office and then you have these really huge wood table with a high chair, leather chair. I also feel so stressed, I feel like, oh my God, every minute that this guy is going to talk to me, I'm going to pay $10,000. But anyway, good chatting to you, Janet. Keep safe, and hopefully we see each other in Singapore, Malaysia, or Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong. So
in Hong Kong. I miss all the siu already.
Okay, thank you, Rina. Thank you, Gary.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.